This is going to be a bit of an interesting video this week. I recently just took one of the biggest losses in my life ever, and I can't say it's been easy dealing with it. I can't say it's been the greatest experience ever, but what I can say is that it's definitely taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot, it's freed up a lot of mental space, and it's also given me a lot more clarity moving forwards in life of what to do and what not to do in such situations moving forwards. I guess to make this story make sense and to share my experience with you, provide you as much context as possible, we can go back 6 years ago to when it all started. 6 years ago, I was maybe about 18 years old. At the time, I always knew I wanted to get ahead in life by taking on different risks. I always thought that in my position, for someone like me, for someone at the time who didn't have much self-belief in their own skills, thought that the only way I could get ahead in life was to make risky investments. The first risky investments I started to make was like in the stock market. I started to go into, very small, risky stocks, and I thought, well, look, I'm young, and if I lose the money I put in, it's okay because I can always make it back in the future. And what this did was it actually cultivated this terrible image in my mind, this terrible perception in my mind that you're still young, you can afford to lose this, you can afford to lose this. And sure, you can afford to lose certain things, but that's only if you're using those losses as a lesson for the future. If you're not going to use those losses as a lesson, then you're literally just throwing your money away. And so as time went on, I kept getting burnt in the market. I never had anything go my way. And eventually I was like, okay, enough is enough. I can't do with this. I don't know what I'm doing in the stock market. Let me go into crypto. And I know a lot of you are going to say, well, yeah, there's your mistake. You went into crypto. How dumb could you be? And sure, I was dumb. I was like, 19 years old. I thought I knew everything. I knew that this was the way to go forwards. I thought this is how I'm going to make it big. And so slowly by slowly, I was finding these little coins and investing and thinking that I'm making great decisions, that in a few years' time, I'm going to be so rich. I'd be able to, have all this money and do all these various things with it. And it got to a point where I had invested so much in that I probably left myself with a few percent of my total net worth in my bank account. That's how deep I was in crypto. And obviously being 19, that's not that much money, but at the time it was a lot. And I always told myself this other thing, it's like, if I keep a bare minimum in my bank account, it's gonna make me work that much harder because I know I need to make it somehow. Otherwise I won't be able to survive. I won't have any money to live off. And so I would work hard, and I would then reinvest all of that into crypto. And eventually it got to a point where I was so deep in that it started to affect me. I started to watch it every single day. It took over what I was doing. All my mental energy, my clarity, what I was giving my attention to. And this was back when I was in university, so I had a lot of things going on, was going towards crypto. And slowly, I could feel myself becoming a lot more desensitized with money. And it wasn't only money, but it was desensitized with a lot of other things around in my life. I was then thinking, well, this is going to build this emotional resilience that you need. And so I was becoming a lot more emotionally dull. I wasn't an emotional person, so I was always bottling things up. I was always keeping to myself. I wouldn't really share those emotions because I thought that's how I would develop the resilience in order to ride out the waves in cryptocurrency. And seeing your portfolio swing 4 figures each day was was definitely one way to build emotional resilience at that age. And so once again, time progresses, and well, I still haven't made a profit. In fact, I'm probably down quite a substantial amount at that time. And one thing that I kept doing was I kept hoping that it would go up. And I guess this hope is probably stemming from the fact that I knew I invested once again into these risky assets, if you could even call them assets, that is. And I was in this point where I was now doubting everything I had done. I was doubting my previous decisions. I was doubting why I had done what I'd done. I was, giving myself a lot of negative self-talk. I then decided, well, you know what, I'm just going to keep it at that amount. I'm just going to build, myself back up. I want to focus on myself, but I never really could. I could never really give myself 100% attention because in the back of my mind, I was always saying, yeah, but if your crypto hits 10x or 5x, you're going to set yourself up and you won't need to do, all this personal development stuff. You won't need to build your own skills because you have crypto and that'll give you money. And then you can, invest that and compound that investment and take it to the stock market or go into property and, you can become this huge investor. And it was all these, I would say hopium. It was this hopium that I was spitting out and telling myself that prevented me from developing my own skills. It prevented me from taking on risky opportunities at that time because I thought, well, I don't want to put myself in those situations. Crypto will sort me out later. So I wasn't focusing on personal development. I wasn't focusing on myself. And this mindset ruined me at the time because I always wanted to be recession proof. I wanted to know if the things in the market went down, if life went to shambles, I would be okay. But I knew deep down if that happened, I would be in a world of pain because I had nothing to show for all the investments I've made, for all the time I spent studying the market. And it hit me. Only last week, or only earlier this week, did I take the investment loss. It's quite a substantial amount. And, after 6 years, turning a paper loss, so a loss on your account, into a real actualized loss, it hits differently because now, there is no hope that that amount's going to go back up because whatever you took out is what you have. And then it also hits you. It's like, well, now you don't have any specific skills from all that money you've thrown away. There's nothing you really learned from that experience, and well, you've just lost a bunch of money. A bunch of money that could have been used for all these other things. And when I think about those things, it's so easy to dwell on the past and, get upset, beat yourself up over it. And I did initially. But at the same time, I was very fortunate to surround myself with other people. And of course, as these have progressed, I thankfully have matured and I realized that bottling up your emotions is never the way to go because eventually it gets too much to handle and you just explode and you let it out on other people, and that's not the way to be. So by sharing this experience with other people, I was actually able to just understand that, things do happen for a reason. And as much as you tell yourself that things happen for a reason, like when you're in that moment and obviously your mind's not thinking rationally because of what you've just gone through, it's great to have other people around you remind you that that's just the cost of tuition. That's what you experience. That's, that's what you've paid for that understanding, for that lesson. And I like to, now think of it in a positive way. Say I now have had that experience at a very young age, so I can recover from that in a couple of years' time. Had I not gone through that experience so early on in my life and done that a bit later on with an amount 10 times the size, well, yeah, I don't think I would financially recover so quickly from that. And so that's, I guess, one benefit to that. It's like now I've gotten it out of my system where I won't be doing such a stupid thing again. I also now know the importance of really developing your own skills because if you really want to become recession proof, you need to have your own skills. You are your money maker, not relying on some dumb luck in the markets to create you this wealth that you can then use for other things. Because if your own skill set is not creating you wealth, if it's not creating you whatever it is you're chasing, you will never get ahead in life because you won't know what to do with whatever it is that you received. So I like to think of it in this way. If you come across something out of luck and you never put any hard work into it, what are the chances are that you're going to be able to retain that thing? Probably minimal, nothing, because you don't know, you don't understand the work that was required for other people to receive that because you received it by luck, by chance. You are not in a position to deserve that just yet. And so if I want to think of it this way now, if I had the opportunity or the option to choose whether I could develop my own skill sets, and in 10 years' time, that would result in me making a substantial amount of money, or if I'd win the lottery tomorrow and I'd win a substantial amount of money, which would I choose? A lot of people would call me stupid if I said this, or they say I'm lying, but I would say develop my own skill sets so that in 10 years' time, I'll be able to receive that large sum. Because chances are I will be a person in 10 years' time deserving of that amount. Whereas if I was to win the lottery tomorrow, I'm still the same person today who doesn't have the knowledge, the experience, the skill set to even manage that amount. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. Sure, I could put it in a bank account. I could go reach out to a financial advisor. I could do all these things with it. But would I personally feel like I deserved it? No. No, because my hard work and effort and skills did not go into creating that. What I've learned is that if you can really invest your time, your effort, and have that create something, you are going to cherish that thing a lot more. You are going to be the person capable of controlling that thing, of owning that thing, of utilizing it to its full potential, than if you were to just come across something by dumb luck. And this has all come as an understanding or as the realization of that huge loss I experienced this week. So, lesson or moral of the story is use losses in life that you experience to your advantage, because if you're going to just see a loss as a loss and beat yourself up over it, what's the point? What's the point? What's done is done. You can't go back in time and change your actions. What you can do is just learn from it, use it as the tuition cost for that specific thing. If you are not going to use it as a tuition cost, and if you're going to make the same mistake and not learn again, then you are just throwing away money, or you are throwing away effort or time or whatever it is that you're investing to get to that thing. So always use everything as a learning experience. Don't beat yourself up over past things that you've done, because that's probably what you knew best at the time. Like, you can only make the best decision with all the information that you have available. And if that's all the information I had available, if that was my mindset back then, which is to get ahead in life, I have to do this, this, and that because I just don't feel like I had the skills required to get there, then so be it. That's how I felt. But just use that as an understanding that, well, no, that's not the way to go about things. If you really want to get ahead in life, develop your own skill sets. You won't regret that at all.